Hi, welcome to the King Kong Trail. I'm Doug Vandiver, sitting next to my lovely bride, Amy.
Hello.
And across from Travis.
Hey.
There you are.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad.
I was telling you before we started, I got this new digital stuff. We've been kind of rebuilding the studio and getting different cameras and all this kind of stuff, and I'm still kind of figuring it out. So
it's fun with buttons.
We get to push buttons and go back and forth and all that kind of stuff. So,
awesome.
Let's see. Yeah, there we are. We'll go with that one for a little bit. Tavis Brockett, how you doing?
Well, not too bad.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I'm not totally familiar with you because I just found you on Facebook. My cousin Adam, he put a thing on Facebook. He said, you got to check out this hometown boy. And he was talking you up, and it's like, all right, I got to see what this is about. And clicked on it and like, okay. or as his dad would say, hell yeah.
That does sound like Uncle Chuck.
Yeah, that is a very...
That's definitely Chuck.
That's very Chuck type.
Uncle Chuckism.
So, welcome. Tell us a little bit about... you're from Burlington?
Yeah, I'm from Burlington. Grew up here and been here a long time. So
okay. Well, a long time. I mean, you can't be more than, what, 25?
41.
Oh, okay. You're not too far behind me there.
Yeah. Usually surprises most people when I tell them that.
Well, I forget how Adam's age group is.
Yeah.
Because, I always think of him as a young child, but...
Oh, I'm sure he's glad to hear
grown
that.
Up. Yeah.
Yep.
Funny thing is he's got just as much gray in his beard as I do, if not more.
Ooh. He does have some gray in his beard. That's true.
He's got a righteous looking beard going on.
He does have a nice beard.
Yeah. So
I'm envious.
I want to get to the point where I'm like completely white or gray or silver. My mom had beautiful silver hair,
but not on her chin.
No. But I want to go Santa Claus.
Yeah,
I like dressing up as Santa Claus during the holidays, and I just got streaks.
Go with Gandalf for Halloween, and
I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
You were going to do the one dude with the pink umbrella.
Yes.
Hagrid.
Hagrid.
Yeah.
Hagrid.
I haven't watched the movies.
Yeah.
I think I started and then I fell asleep, and then it was like, I had this thing. Once I fall asleep during a movie, I don't really want to watch it.
Yeah. Now they're coming out with a TV show.
Really?
HBO. Yeah. They just announced it like yesterday.
Okay.
So
that ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds like something our kids would be into.
Each season's going to be one of the books. Is what I've seen. So.
Does the production look as good as the movies?
They haven't started yet, but I mean HBO with what they've done recently, I'd imagine that it will still be pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself. So you're from Burlington.
Yep.
Of course, this is a Burlington type podcast, so we love to get people's stories about growing up in Burlington and their favorite memories of Burlington, or and favorite things of what they like today. So tell me about growing up here in Burlington.
Yeah. So grew up here. So was born in '82. So grew up in the '80s and '90s in Burlington, and it's a lot different than it is now. If you look back at Burlington in the '80s, and I grew up a lot. I spent a lot of time out in Middletown. We lived out there for quite a while, and lived in a few different areas of Burlington. I lived down by Case briefly. Lived over off of Sunnyside for a while, and just kind of a bunch of different areas. But I went to elementary school at Prospect Hill, which is no longer a school.
Where was Prospect?
So that is where Burlington Christian is now.
Okay, right.
Yep.
That'd be over off of Harrison?
Harrison, yep.
Okay.
So went to school there in elementary, and then went to James Madison, which is also no longer a school. We're starting to see a theme here.
Yeah.
Luckily, Burlington High School still exists because that's the only school that I went to that's actually a school now.
Right.
But did sports growing up and was very active in music. I did choir in high school and was in the show choir, and it's kind of where my claim to fame was always my voice. I started singing around the Burlington area for years, did national anthem out at the Burlington Bees, and just performances with choir and show choir around, and that's how most people knew me, was from my singing.
Okay. So I've heard a couple of your songs. I'm going to assume that the national anthem wasn't sung that style.
It was not. It was not.
Not saying you can't do it, Not saying you can't do it. But because Adam told me he's got a range, of styles. I'm like, really? Yeah. I gotta figure this out. So
yeah. So, I started singing very traditional stuff like everyone else that you'd sing in, like at the hymns at church and the choir at school or whatever, and was really into popular music growing up. And
okay, gotta stop you there.
Yeah,
you said hymns at church.
Hymns at church.
I was a pastor in late 90s.
Okay,
2000s. Where'd you go to church?
So the first church I went to in Burlington I went to First Assembly of God.
Okay.
And then I stopped going to church there in like middle school, maybe like late elementary, middle school. Went a few years without going to church, and then went to Harmony out in Danville.
Okay.
We were living in Middletown at the time, sure. And a bunch of my friends from BHS went to Harmony. So. Yep.
And they had a pretty good program going on out there.
Yeah. There was a really good youth program. We had a thing called Yak every week, youth after church. So we do it on Wednesday nights and on Sunday nights, which is a lot of fun, a lot of fellowship with kids your age, and just meeting some really great people. My boss that I at my job now is a friend of mine from high school, and we went to church at Harmony together. So,
okay. Very cool. Yeah. I was a youth pastor. I was at West Burlington Christian Church, and then Burlington First Church of the Nazarene out on the highway.
Oh yeah, and I went there briefly.
Okay.
My mom and my grandma went out there for a while, and I joined them. This was adult years. Let's see, like 2005 through like 2008, somewhere in there.
Would have been. See, I left. I was 2004,
5, 2005. That's when we.
2002 to 2004.
That's right, because Paige was born, and yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
I go right after we were there.
My life is divvied up by which kid I had when and what was going on. That's how I keep track of things.
Yep.
So, well, I didn't want to take the conversation to the church thing, but when people mention church, I'm like, okay, I got to figure out the connections. Because
well, we had so many kids from different youth groups come with our youth group, and I remember that one time we had a lock-in, and the Assembly of God Church was there, and a couple other churches were there. It was... Staying up all night with a bunch of kids was not our thing.
No.
I like to sleep, and they did not.
And I get really cranky when I don't get sleep.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you were cranky. That was a bad thing for you.
I can tell you some stories.
But not now. Those would be our stories. We're here for his stories. So what was it like the first time you sang the national anthem in front of a great big... because in a choir, you're with people, but in the national anthem, you are by yourself.
Yeah,
most likely.
Yeah, I got pretty fortunate. In high school, I was picked for solos a lot. Our choir teacher liked me a lot, so I was generally the focal point. Like we had Burlington had the Pops concert was our big thing every year, and whenever we would have the Pops concert, I would have solos like all night long, and so kind of being the focal point, I like lived for the attention. And that kind of went back to my childhood. Like I used to like sing and dance and like do like characters and stuff for my mom when I was a kid, and like they always wanted me to be the center of attention, so it was never really too big of a deal. So the first time I sang the national anthem, it was a bit of a shock, just kind of being like out there in the middle of the like court, and then all these people are around you. But it got to be kind of a comfort thing, and I was so comfortable singing the national anthem, like it was like second nature. So I lived in Iowa City for a while, and I used to do it at Hawkeye sporting events.
Oh,
that's when it got to be a little bit of a shock, like going to a men's basketball game that's sold out, that's 15,500 people, and you're in the middle of the court and they're all around you. So that's probably the most freaked out I'd ever been. Like, not even my first time. That time would have been the scariest.
Right.
Bigger crowd.
Bigger crowd, yeah.
You
a lot of eyes on you.
Don't want to mess up that song in front of that crowd, you know.
Well, they've got the big Jumbotron there at Carver Hawkeye, too, and so they have a cameraman as close as we are right now with this camera in my face. And I'm, like, sitting there trying to sing. And I'm just like, do not forget the words. Do not forget the words.
Oh, yeah.
How many times do you think you sang up at the Hawkeyes?
Oh, man. Between all the sports, probably upwards of 100 times.
Wow. So you were there a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I lived up there. I started singing up there about 2 years after I moved up. And I lived up there for almost 10 years. So, and I did every sport except for football has the national anthem. So I sang for every sport.
Okay.
It just got to be, and it was a regular thing. Like, I became one of their regulars, so they wanted me to do like some of the bigger events, and like they hosted the Big Ten Wrestling Championships one year, and they called me and asked me to sing for the opening round of the Big Ten Wrestling Championships, which was awesome.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, in high school, were you in bands or anything like that, or just kind of?
No, I was pretty much just a choir kid and did my sports, and that was it. I always enjoyed music and respected like my friends that were in bands and doing like rock and metal and stuff like that. It was just nothing I ever had the opportunity to do. It wasn't until after college that I really got the chance to join a band.
Was it something you wanted to do, or just kind of?
It wasn't the right time.
Yeah, I think it was something I'd always thought about doing. I just never really had the connections to get it started. Like, I didn't really know what style of music I wanted to do. So, like, my major in college was commercial music with an emphasis in vocal performance, which is basically saying I don't know what I want to sing, but I don't want to sing opera. Because if you're a typical vocal performance major, you're singing opera. That's how it is at most schools.
Right.
But we had a commercial program. And I like to do rock, I like to do R&B, I liked metal. I never really had a feel for what I wanted to do. And so trying to start like a group or a band was difficult when I wasn't really unsure of what I wanted to do at the time.
Right. So were you one of the kids that like to go to the shows and all the time, or?
Yeah, I love to go to any show that I could. It didn't matter what type of music. I wanted to be there and listen. I just love music. I've always been, music was really big in my household as a kid. My mom used to listen to music with me in the car all the time, or just around the house, like when she was cleaning. My stepdad, growing up, he got me into different styles of music. Like, he was big into like classic rock and metal and stuff like that. He's the one that actually introduced me to metal. So I can always say that Walt was the reason that I became a metalhead. So, and then, I just kind of listen to music. Like, as you grow older, you get your own tastes, and I've always just tried to listen to as much as possible. And I'm pretty much a big fan of any music. I'm not a huge fan of country, but other than that, I like most everything.
Right. Excuse me. See, there's go.
Yep.
So the music in the college. What college did you go to?
So I went to Millikan University in Decatur, Illinois. It's a real small private school. I think we had like 1,600 students or something like that when I was there, which is the size of high school. So everyone knows everyone. Like, you get to know everyone, and
That sounds like Burlington. Everyone knows everyone.
yeah, it was very much like that. But it was really nice. The music program is very well known over there, and it offered something different than most music programs did at the time. Like the commercial program, the music business program, you got to take classes on recording studio.
Oh, nice.
Like, so my freshman year, I took a class that was a class-setting intro to the recording studio, and then you move on to studio classes where you're actually working in the studio. You don't get that, or at the time, you didn't get that at many schools.
Right.
So it was definitely something that interests me when I was looking at the school.
Now, I'm talking about recording studios. How do you think the music making has changed? Because anybody, I mean, just about anybody with a computer, it seems like, can put a record together.
Yep.
You know, I was listening to Spotify and commercials. I mean, every break, it was this studio, that studio. You can put your beats together and get your songs on Spotify.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm just imagining, you know, in an actual recording studio, which is a lot different than just a computer.
Yeah. It's definitely a different game now. Obviously, some of the stuff you learn, or like I learned in the studio classes, translates to using the computer and doing everything now. So like you have your DAWs right now. Like, so I do everything at home for my vocals. I have a computer, like I have a little setup in my basement with my computer, my mic, my monitor speakers, all that stuff, and I record all my vocals at home. Mm-hmm. And I can do everything I need to on that computer. And then if it needs to be mixed into instrumentals that my bandmate does or whatever, we send it off to our producer and he takes care of everything. But I can do everything at home. I don't have to drive to a studio, book studio time,
Right.
Have an engineer, pay an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a lot different. it's just a lot different. And they're adding so many plugins and things like that now that all that outboard stuff is not obsolete, but a lot less used by a lot of producers and engineers now.
I kind of seen that I don't know if maybe this is when it happened, but when I noticed the shift, you know, different bands, one guy this side of the country, that guy on the other side of the country, somebody in the middle, and they're playing on YouTube.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, that actually sounds good, you know. And they're, you know, getting together and doing a concert that way.
Yep.
You know, do you think it kind of changed right around the COVID era, or was it already headed there?
I think it was headed there, but COVID definitely made it so that it was a lot more regular for people to record from home. I mean, they even had, there's devices you can buy now to where you can have practice as a band through the internet.
Okay.
So everyone gets the same box, they all link up to it, and then they have like a virtual band session. And there can be some latency issues, you know, obviously with the internet being what it is. But if you have great enough connections, like it's almost as if you're having a real-time practice.
I'd always blame the bass player.
Yeah.
You're late.
It's always the bass player. They're the easiest ones to blame.
Yeah.
You used to be a bass player, and
I know, because I was always late. I know. I know my problems, honey.
Oh, too funny. So how many people are in your band?
So my band Misery System is just me and my bandmate Jake. He lives in the Sacramento, California area.
Oh, so you're one of the cross-country
We are
duos.
one of those. Yeah, so he does a bunch of the instrumental stuff on his end, and he'll send those over to me. I'll figure out my vocal line, work my vocals, record those, And then we have a guy that produces our music.
And where does he live? Like somewhere else?
So,
totally?
Yes. So he was in Alaska, and he just recently moved to Arizona.
Well, that's a weather change for him.
It is a big weather change. But yeah, so it was very interesting. So Matt is the guy that produces our music and does engineering, and he was working on a song that I was doing guest vocals on. And he was like, hey, my buddy has some songs together, but he's been looking for a vocalist. I've been trying to do it, but I don't have the time for it. And he's like, would you be interested in like maybe throwing some demos down? And so I threw a demo down on one song. He sent it to Jake, and Jake loved it. It was like, let's do it. And so a few months later, we released it as our first single, and that was
Well, that's cool.
kind of how it all worked out.
Now, I got to. Have you met in between time?
No.
No.
We talk on Facebook Messenger. Yeah, we've never been face to face, never talked over the phone.
Wow.
But,
And
yeah.
how long has the band been going on?
So we released our first song in September of 2021.
Okay.
So
right in the middle.
Yeah, we're coming up on 2 years since we've.
Any plans to get face to face, or would that ruin the whole?
I want to. Yeah, I definitely want to. We have a lot of similar tastes in music and stuff like that, and we're both kind of nerds, and I think we'd get along great. I think it would be awesome to go out to California and see him, or if he ever made his way here. And I think him and Matt have been friends for a long time, and like all three of us got together, it'd be cool. And just
Well,
kinda
if
shoot the
Matt's in
breeze.
Arizona, that's kind of in between you two, so.
Yeah. Just shoot down to Arizona. I could do that. I need a vacation.
Why not?
Yeah.
Probably a little bit warmer than it is here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So, you've not even talked on the phone, you said.
Not even talked on the phone. Nope.
So you've not heard? Have you heard his voice at all? I mean, because he's obviously heard your voice. You're the vocalist, but
I don't think I have. No, I have. But that's through a video his wife posted on Facebook. I heard his voice.
you're like, that's my bandmate.
But yeah. But other than that, no. It's pretty much all Facebook Messenger.
Wow.
We shoot each other messages, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, we've heard each other's voices. Like, we will send each other like voice memos or whatever, and or sometimes just shoot each other stupid videos. But
So this is probably not a project that'll get together and go out on a
Nationwide tour.
3-week tour or anything like that.
no, I think it's one of those. It's one of those things. I never thought I was going to be in a band again. It kind of came out of nowhere that I really got back into doing vocals. I did metal bands here in Burlington for quite a while, and then retired, so to say. Yeah, so to say. And then, but yeah, back in 2021, just kind of got the itch. I think my job kind of made me really interested in getting back into music, dealing with musicians all the time. And so I was like, well, you know what? I could do this. And
What kind of job do you have?
so I work in accounting and royalties for Fixed, which is an independent record label.
Oh,
So
where's that located at?
So we have an office here in Burlington. So it kind of the short story of it. Our vice president, James Rhodes, he's my friend from school. He was a fan of an artist known as Cell Dweller, and started working for his like street team, and then ended up becoming his first employee. And then they decided to start the label together. And they started it, and James lived out in California for a while. They started having kids, and they moved back to Iowa to be close to family. And he's been running Fixed from the Burlington area for quite some time. So,
Gotcha.
I've been on their website. It's quite impressive. Huh. You wouldn't tell from the exterior of the building,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
at least according to the Google picture.
Yep.
But and
Yeah.
the artist list that you guys have. I mean, it looks very well done.
Yeah, we're just in an old warehouse building downtown. We have merchandise and stuff that we ship from our Iowa office. We have 5 employees currently in our office. So we have like our merch manager, and then we have a retail assistant that helps out with the merchandise. James, our vice president, is there, and then our director of operations and marketing is there as well, and then me. So.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's very laid back. It's not like the corporate music world where we're making billions of dollars and wearing suits and ties to go to work, and yeah, we're not. That's not the people we are. We're pretty chill.
Because it has piqued my interest. I can't remember if it came across my Indeed list, or I know I've seen it on Facebook. You guys were hiring for something. I thought, could I? Yeah. So tell me about the some of the bands that you were doing before this. You said you kind of retired from.
Yeah.
Before you got the itch again.
Yeah. So it was back in 2005, I think it was. I was working at the time it was Come and Go downtown across from the courthouse. It's Circle K now, but I was working there, and one of my regular customers had found out that I was a singer, and he was just like, "Well, what type of music do you listen to?" It's like, "Yeah, I pretty much listen to anything." And he was like, "Well, my brother-in-law's band is looking for a singer. They just kicked theirs out." He's like, "You should go try out for him." I was like, "Oh, I could do that."
Don't worry about it.
And
camera died. So I'm trying to do 2 things at once.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah. Sorry. They kicked out the singer.
Yeah, so the singer got kicked out, and so they were looking for a new vocalist, and they were like, "Well, if you could meet our guitar player, he can pick you up and take you over to practice. We practice in Aquaca." And I was like, "Okay." So I was meeting a dude I'd never met before. He was like, "I'll be driving this van." I'm like, "Oh, that's great. Great start.
We're going to Illinois."
Yep. And so we ended up going over, and so I auditioned for the band, I guess, kind of sang a little bit over some of the songs they had going, and they asked me to be the vocalist. So they didn't have a name at the time, and me and the guitar player just came up with the name A Test of Faith, and so that was our name. We played some shows around Burlington, and we ended up I think we lasted for a little over a year maybe, and then we called it quits. Shortly after we called it quits, there was a band in Burlington called Cavitation. John Hager was the guitar player for that, and he had heard we had played with them and heard me, and they had just kicked out their vocalist and wanted me to join, and so I went over, auditioned, and played with them, and we played quite a few shows. Got a lot of gigs in Fort Madison area. They liked metal in Fort Madison, Burlington not so much, so we played.
I say, where do you in Burlington, where would you play shows at?
We would have to like throw shows at like random places. So like there used to be shows at the Burlington Senior Center. Some of my friends would rent that place out and put shows on there. So we had some good times there. There were a couple other places that we played at. I can't even remember the names to tell you the truth. But yeah, in Fort Madison we would play Captain Kirk's, and we played Old English with Kinnick South. Sidelines was another place we used to play. Sidelines we did a metal fest there.
Okay.
So yeah, it was interesting times. Fort Madison liked metal a lot better than Burlington, that's for sure.
Yeah, because I was looking at shows that come through the area. I think Fort Madison and Keokuk have more of the the rock and metal venues.
Yep.
And, well, I don't even know what Burlington. Well, we got the Washington, which I absolutely love.
Yep.
The Washington?
Washington, Wake and Bake, Capitals bringing in some things, So, but I think all the hard rock stays south.
Yeah.
South.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So, yeah. Tell me a little bit about your family now.
Yeah. So I am currently engaged. So it's my fiance Shelby, and then we have between us 5 kids. She had 3 from previous relationships, and I had 2. So we have 3 girls and 2 boys. So we got our hands full.
What are their age ranges?
So age ranges, our youngest is 12, and then the oldest is 20.
Oh,
so
that's our age ranges.
Yeah.
It's like
so yeah, we have 20, 18, or 2 18-year-olds, a 17-year-old, 17-year-old, and a 12-year-old. So
Go to school in Burlington?
West Burlington.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I wouldn't know. So yeah.
what were you gonna say?
I don't know. You tapped me.
I tapped you. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm just. Good job, honey. Okay. So, what did they think about the music business? Are they any of them budding musicians? Or
Yeah.
anything?
So they appreciate my music. So my fiance Shelby, she loves my music. She loves metal, and she loves everything I do. She gets super excited anytime I release anything or post anything on Facebook or TikTok or whatever. She's my number one fan, biggest
Aw.
supporter in the world. The kids don't care for the music as much, but they think it's cool that I do it. I think it's important to them to see that I'm still passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughters, they both love music, choir, show choir. My oldest has been in the musicals and plays at West Burlington.
Mm-hmm.
Had some of like the bigger roles in the last couple of years in
Nice.
those. So she's a budding actress. She can sing. She has a great voice, but she's a budding actress that she could outact me any day. Like, I thought I was decent at acting when I was younger, but not even close to where she is. So definitely proud of her. And then with my bonus kids, they're not really into music. The middle boy, Eric is his name. He wants to be a rapper, and he has put out some songs on YouTube, and
Good for him.
he's funny. his raps are funny. Probably saying some stuff he shouldn't have said that mom didn't care for too much, but they were funny and entertaining. So, but yeah, he's got some talent. He got all this stuff to record his own stuff at home, and to be able to put that music out. So I haven't heard any new raps from him recently. I don't know if work or his girlfriend have kept him from really working on any music, but I'd love to hear some more one of these days.
Maybe they do a collaboration.
Yeah, there you go.
Get you two
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, and he's not big into metal either, but he appreciates what I do. He knows that it takes skill, and it's not just
You can bring
yelling.
back a little Anthrax and
Public Enemy.
Public Enemy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, too funny. Now, one of your songs, you're talking about metal songs, and you're number one fan.
Mhm.
And one of the songs you wrote for her.
Yeah.
You want to tell a little bit about that song?
Yeah, so I just started calling it my solo project. It's just released under Tavis Brockett, called Ghost, and that's what you heard on Facebook. But she had always wanted me to write her a love song, and so I was just like, well, I don't really do the typical love song stuff. I'm a metalhead, so I wrote a song, and the lyrics are inspired by her. So the thought behind Ghost is somebody that's going through a difficult time, and somebody reaching out and being there for that person. So I had just gone through a divorce and was kind of having some troubles myself, some depression and stuff, and me and Shelby reconnected. We had been friends for a long time. We worked together at the gas station downtown in Burlington, and so we reconnected. And so the song is kind of about how she helped bring me back.
Okay.
So, yep.
Yeah, I heard that, and my mind, I went, wow, that could be that. I could see that on a Christian album because it had some, those "you helped me" type lyrics. But then you said you were telling about your fiance, and it's like, I can see it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. So
yeah. I mean, the opening of the song, like, it's just basically talking about me going through being in a tough spot, and she pulled me out, and that was my love song to her, and she when she posted it on her Facebook, and she was just like, when you ask a metalhead for a love song.
Now, is this? Do you find like a local artist to help you with that, or is it more?
Yeah.
Of your...
So with the most recent one, I tried writing some stuff myself using like virtual instruments, guitar and drums and everything. And it's a really tough process. It takes a lot of time, and I was getting very frustrated. And I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Fiverr, but
yes.
So you can find a whole bunch of people on Fiverr that do a whole bunch of things, and I found an instrumentalist that I gave him an idea. I was like, this is kind of what I'm looking for. Here are some song references of the style of music I want to put out, and he, within like a week, shot me 3 songs, because what we agreed upon was 3 songs. He shot those to me, I approved them, and I was like, okay, now I'll start working on my vocals. And Matt, who does our production for Misery System, who does all my stuff for my solo project as well.
Very cool. Very cool. So any hopes of putting something together locally, or
I've thought about it. I have some friends in the area that I was kind of in bands with or played shows with back in the day. I've considered it, but I really like this, being able to release music and just kind of have that be its own thing, and kind of do my own promo. I don't really have the desire to play shows as much.
Okay.
I think as I get older and my body's falling apart, I don't have the stamina that I once had, like, to be running around stage for an hour or whatever.
I find at my age, at 52, it's hard to stay up past 9:30.
Yep, I'm usually ready for bed. But the shows we were playing back when I was in cavitation in my mid-20s, I mean, we'd be going on at midnight.
Right.
They have 4 bands playing at a bar, and we're the headliner, so we go on at midnight until 1:15, and then bar close is coming up. And I was doing that like every other weekend for like a year, and I was perfectly fine.
Oh, that would kill me.
I don't know how I was perfectly fine, but I could do it every other weekend. And then, but now I imagine that, and I want to cry. I just don't think I can do it.
I play at church, and I want to go home and take a nap.
Yeah.
And that's just 8:00 in the morning.
Yep.
So yeah.
Too funny. So, with your the music you have, and I've heard Spotify and things like that. Do you have like a Facebook page, or what's your social media presence that people can find you?
Yeah. So for both my solo project and my band, I have Facebook and Instagram for those. So on Facebook, it's at Misery System, and then I think it's Misery System Band is the Instagram, and then for my solo project, it's just Tavis Brockett. I think it's at Black Metal Vokes. It's BLK Metal VOX, and then it's T Brockett _music on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I put music out there. I like memes, so I create a lot of memes for my band. So like the other day was World Drummers Day, and I posted a picture of a drum VST, and it was like, wanted to give a shout out to my drummer for my last song. You put in like, you did really great work, or
Your drummer can't be beat.
So yeah, and like the Misery System, our last release, I did, I think 10 straight days of memes of just to promote it.
Mm-hmm.
And we gained a whole bunch of followers just because they thought the stuff was funny.
Well, that's cool.
I was like, they hadn't even listened to, most of them hadn't listened to the music yet, and they were just like, oh, that's funny, so they followed. And so it's like, yeah, if we can get a few fans out of it just by making them laugh, hopefully they'll listen to the music and like it too. So
now, what would it take to get all of your stuff like on vinyl? Vinyl is so much fun. I mean,
yeah, vinyl is, yeah, it's difficult.
Could that genre, could vinyl
I wanted to make a
sustain
comeback.
that genre? Because I mean that's loud and fast, and I think that would shake the
Bounce
needle
the
off
needle.
the.
Yeah, I mean a lot of metal bands are putting their releases out on vinyl right now. Vinyl was really slow. It's starting to speed up again. So we obviously do vinyl records for some of our albums at the label. And
To speed it up, don't you just got to push the little lever?
Oh boy, I'm sorry.
True.
I'm sorry. I really am sorry.
But yeah, the production times were like super slow, and they were saying like, you're gonna have to give us like 6 to 9 months, and industry wide it was really slow, and it's pretty expensive because you can't make a small amount of vinyl. You usually have to do like a larger run to be cost effective, and so most small bands can't afford something like that. If they do, or if they can, they pretty much need to know that they're going to be able to sell every single piece of that vinyl.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to have partners to partner with to get your vinyl in record stores,
Mm-hmm.
and not every place sells records, and so it's a completely different game, selling vinyl versus like CDs or even digital music. But digital is like the way everyone's streaming music now. It's they're not buying physical like they once were. Like I couldn't even tell you the last CD I bought.
Right. And when we go to shows, we try to buy something.
I try to buy vinyl because I just love the, I don't know. But then I will buy the vinyl, and then I'll tell my little computer, my little spy on the counter, so and so play whatever, and so I don't have to go flip it. If I'm doing dishes, my hands are full of soapy water. I don't want to be messing with my records.
Well, but it's nice. I mean, when the vinyl comes with a digital download,
Yes.
then you just play that. You display the vinyl.
And I play the vinyl too, but then you got to go flip it, and I'm usually in the middle of doing something. I'm like, man. Oh, music's changed. Where do you it's had so much change, like especially during COVID and how people were recording coast to coast together. Where do you think what do you think the next change, and look into your crystal ball or whatever and say, where's it going next, do you think? Or
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's really hard to say. Like the AI thing, you see it in art, like what you can go to like Midjourney and stuff like that, and you can type in anything and make realistic art. And it's like they're coming up with AI stuff to do music.
But is that art?
That's the question. That is a question.
I mean, if you just say, hey, you call it George, paint me a picture of, whatever.
Yeah.
The Great River Bridge on fire, falling into the river, and it does it, and it does it really good.
Yep.
But you didn't do anything.
Nope.
You just suggested it.
Yep.
So is it art? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there was I can't remember where it was, but there was an art competition where the winning piece of art was AI, and people freaked out because, I mean, it was like a super, really, like it looked really, really good. It looked like a piece of art that somebody had done.
Sure.
But yeah, it's that's one of the, I think that's one of the fears in the music industry is like, if somebody can get AI to just create entire songs, like lyrics, vocals, everything, like how's that going to change things?
Well, because they'll, just like algorithms, you know, they're going to see, you know, I remember working back in Christian radio and interviewing artists, you know, and listening to them today, and they're like, oh yeah, back in the 90s and 2000s when, you know, Christian music was huge, bigger. It was, you know, we're writing. They literally said we're writing songs for Becky, the soccer mom, and that's who we want. And it's like, oh, wow. And if AI, you know what you do? You just say, hey, make a song. Here's the parameters of the lyrical content and the music, and write it for, you know, Susan, who is 37.
That's
and
pretty
it'll
specific.
go through all the algorithms and go, this is what the average Susan, who is 37, likes to listen to.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah. I've had that conversation with multiple people, and they're just like, yeah, it's like you could take it and be like, do a song in this person's style, like say Billie Eilish is really popular. So take a song, write a song in Billie Eilish's style with this lyrical content, this key signature, this many beats per minute, go. And if it could write a song and make it a pop song that would sell, like, that's a scary thought.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
will it ever happen? Who knows? Maybe, probably not. I think
It happened. It was called Milli
Yeah.
Vanilli.
Girl, you know it's
They
true.
fooled us. They fooled us, and we fell for it.
They did.
Until the CD scratched.
Yep. Just dancing on stage.
Yep. Oh. Hey, we better go
I
now.
still remember. I will remember that for the rest of my life. That video is hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's like what was it? The Nirvana one that they wanted them to sing to the track, and they didn't want to sing to the track, so they.
Oh yeah, the music was pre-recorded, and they just wanted Nirvana or Kurt Cobain to sing.
Yep.
Oh well, girlfriend, you know, and it's completely different.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're switching instruments in the middle of it,
That
playing.
was Iron Maiden.
Oh, is that Iron
was
Maiden?
class.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I knew it was somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you think your music's going to take you in the future?
Nowhere.
To the King Kong Trail.
Yeah. I mean, really, I just get enjoyment in, like, music is therapy for me. It always has been. So, like, a lot of the music that I write is about very personal things to me. One of the songs I'm writing for my solo project, I'm hoping, still kind of working on things, but I really want to release it in the month of May. It is going to deal with, like, mental illness and mental health. Mental health is an extreme passion of mine, being very vocal about mental health. I deal with my own mental health issues, and there's been such a stigma with mental health for so many years that that stigma needs to go away. And the easiest way for me to do that is to talk about it and create art about it. And so the song I've written has to do with depression, thoughts of suicide, those type of things that a lot of people have dealt with, a lot of people I know have dealt with. And I want to release it during May for Mental Health Month, and I want to put it out there for people to purchase. And if they purchase it, I want to take that money, not for myself, but give it to NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness. So I've worked with them in the past on some stuff when I was living in Johnson County. So for me, I want to be able to just give art to the world, and the money's not a thing for me. Like, making a big name for myself is not a big thing for me. Like, at the end of the day, I just want to, create something that I know some people are going to like. And
Nice.
just feel good about it.
And that's awesome to shine a light on that, because people say I'm fine, I'm okay, because that's what people think you want to hear.
Yeah.
And yeah, mental health is a huge issue, and so many people deal with especially post COVID, just because everyone was on top of just the regular things people went through, just the isolation and the fear and the not knowing, and it's just something that is a good thing to shine a light on, and to let people know that they're not alone, and there's hope, and so good for you doing that. So and
thanks.
let us know when you release that, and we can put a plug in on our
For sure.
Facebook page for our couple hundred people that listen to us.
We're worldwide too. We had one guy from
One guy in
Spain.
France. Oh, is he in Spain?
Spain or France? I can't remember.
I don't know. He used to be
But,
in Burlington, but so we're
yeah.
international.
Oh, cool.
I'm just surprised that anybody would flip on, but yeah. So,
Now, don't be surprised if people listen to us and be like, yeah, listen to
I
us.
expect.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I've tried writing songs. I think my first love song for her was called Duct Tape Veil.
Oh, my gosh.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
As you can tell, it impressed her a lot.
Well, you wrote your best songs when you were procrastinating, when you're supposed to be studying for your finals.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Because-
when I do my best work is when I'm
Yes, when you're
supposed to be doing something
procrastinating.
else.
Yes. Yeah.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know when inspiration's going to hit you. Usually when you're trying to get out of something else.
Yep.
So,
I have random lyrics that come to mind at the most inopportune times, it seems. So I've utilized my notes app on my phone, and I'll write it down real quick so I don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I go back and I'm like, what the hell was that even about?
it was so genius at the time.
It's like song idea. It was like,
Okay,
Yeah.
since you write songs and you write lyrics, and I've asked other artists that come on here, when I try to write a song, my songs always get bogged down to the point of, well, that's not true for me. If it's not, if I can't say that's true, then I have a hard time putting it down. I haven't broken that barrier of writing something from somebody else's perspective. How do you do that? Or how do
it's difficult. I've been there. It's definitely difficult. I try to some of my favorite songs or some of my favorite artists or albums have always had like a protagonist. So I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. So The Wall, you have Pink is the focal point in The Wall. It's a whole story. So I have tried to look at those songs as I'm writing from this character's perspective, and like as if I was writing a book,
Mm-hmm.
and then just kind of going from there. Would be like, I know it's not true for me, but hey, for Joe Schmo that I'm writing this song about,
right?
so that's kind of where I usually try to go with the protagonist antagonist type of storytelling feel when I write songs that are not true about myself.
how many songs do you think you've written in that perspective? Like percentage, not like exactly like I wrote 3 songs in that perspective, but
So for Misery System, we have a 3-song EP out, and the whole thing is a story.
okay.
It's about the character in the story is going through they're basically being downtrodden, and they have like a Jekyll and Hyde moment of like, do I stay good or do I go bad? And then the second song is called Dark Descent, shows the dark side. And then the last song is basically rising up against the people that had like squashed them down for years.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, that's the whole story arc. I've just always been a big fan of those type of albums. Like I was a huge Marilyn Manson fan. I know that now he's canceled. so a lot of people don't.
Everything's canceled.
A lot of people don't like talking about him, but the Antichrist Superstar album is that way, and there's a whole story behind it from the beginning to the end, and I've just always loved that album. Was like really big in my teenage years, like high school, like late high school. So I've always, and Nine Inch Nails has done it with some of their music as well. Downward Spiral had the protagonist antagonist piece to it. So yeah,
cool. Well, do you think we've not covered anything that you might want to have covered while we're here? Have I forgotten anything? Because I usually do.
No.
I usually do.
Oh, not that I can think of. But it has been super great having you on. And when you get that your new song out, let us know, and we'll put it on. And the name of your bands one more time.
Misery System, and then Tavis Brockett.
Okay. And where to find you.
I remember what I wanted to ask.
Oh.
Yep.
Wait. One more time. Where to find you, and then you can ask more questions.
Yep. So Facebook, you can find me. So to be at BLKMETALVOX. Should just come up as Tavis Brockett. And then Misery System is just at Misery System on Facebook. And then Instagram is @TBrockett_music for my solo, and then Misery System band for the band.
Very cool.
Okay. The screaming metal music.
Mm-hmm.
Does it hurt?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. There are
how and why. Teach me.
So yeah. So your vocal cords are not involved, and that's the biggest thing. So a lot of it has to do with muscles and cartilage and all that fun stuff in your throat. There's a whole lot of technical stuff that I can't really explain myself all that great. But yeah, it's a lot of technique. You can hurt yourself if you do it wrong.
Because, I'd like to joke that, I could sing like that, but I'd have to smoke about 4 packs of cigarettes.
Yeah, it's difficult, and you'll find a lot of vocalists, especially the newer ones, if they don't train, they'll do a show and then they'll be hoarse afterward.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of the things I learned really early on, at the time I used a DVD collection called The Zen of Screaming. Her name is Melissa Cross, and she is like a world-renowned vocal coach. She works with a lot of metal vocalists, but she taught a lot of really good techniques to not blow out your voice. And so I could do a show and scream for 60 minutes and then get off stage and still talk to you just like this. And then the next day go to church and sing sing like a Josh Groban song and have no problems doing it.
And then the next day do the national anthem and then go back to...
Yep.
Josh Groban, I don't think I'd sit during for that one. Now, have you ever yelled at your kids that way?
All the time. All the time. They're used to it now.
Yep. Probably like, not again.
Yep. They appreciate it. Even their friend. So my oldest daughter, Charisma, her friend her friend says that he wants me to do the funny, and that's just yelling his name really, really loud, like in a metal voice, and he laughs every time. Like he loves it. Like at first when I did it, I thought he was like freaking out and just was like super scared of me, and I think he was at first, but now that he knows who I am, knows that I'm not really that scary. He thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. So they're always like, "Do the funny." So I just go like, "Zark."
Oh, very cool.
See, I think there's somewhat of a superpower to being able to like freak your kids' friends out for a little while, and and once they get to know you, then it kind of loses its power. But it's kind of nice to be like.
I like to freak the kids out. I like to freak the kids' friends out. I find it easy.
Paige works. Where Paige works. One of the kids that started, she started with 2 other kids, And so I always think of them when I go into the store as my kids, because she started at the same time, and she's like, Paige, I think your dad would be fun to smoke pot with or something like that. So I told him next time he goes through the line, get a big bag of Doritos and just check out.
Hey man, how's it going?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. People have misconceptions about people just based on, whatever. But then you get to know them and you're like, okay.
Oh. Yeah. It's always been that way for me, because I'm obviously, as a metal vocalist, I'm a huge metalhead. But like, I was a banker for 13 years, so I wore a suit and tie almost every single day, and then people would see me driving or hear my music or something and be like, is this the same guy? Or like I'd come in on a day off and I'm wearing like a metal t-shirt and my tattoos are all showing, and they're like, I didn't know you had tattoos. I didn't know you listened to metal. Like,
I didn't know you were cool.
Yeah, like, what's going on? I was like, what did you think I was? Well, all I know is that you sing the national anthem and that you can sing opera too. So I didn't think that metal was your thing.
So do you have a favorite band, like growing up, or just?
So favorite band of all time, just no certain type of music, was Pink Floyd was my favorite. I was always a huge Pink Floyd fan, ever since I was probably like 7, 8 years old. My best friend's dad introduced me to Pink Floyd. He used to play the vinyls and introduced me to The Wall, and The Wall has been my favorite album of all time for ever. I just absolutely love that band. But yeah, metal wise, like, they're not really super well known by a lot of people, but the Acacia Strain is their name. But they're from they're from they're from Massachusetts. But I've been listening to them for coming up on 20 years.
How did you find them? Because that was, 20 years ago, that was before like Spotify and everyone knew everything. Yep. So
one of my friends was like, hey, you should check out this band. And I was like, oh. He hands me a CD, and so we jumped in my car and listened to the whole CD. And I was like, I love this band, and went and saw them like 2 years later live, and it was like just an amazing live show. Got to meet the band, and yeah, they're phenomenal.
Nice.
Yeah, they're just their vocalist is a cool dude. His name's Vincent, and he looks big and scary, but he's not. not at all. He's like, I'm 6'1", and he made me look small. And like when we got a picture side by side, I look like I look tiny, and he's just this big dude. He's lost a lot of weight though, so he doesn't look as scary as he did back then. But yeah,
are they still together, that band?
They are. They've gone through some member changes, but they have their drummer and their vocalist are the same ones. So
okay,
yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, still enjoy their music.
And they're still based out of Minnesota. What did you say?
Massachusetts.
I knew it started with an M.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So they kind of tour. They tour all over, and I've seen them 3 or 4 times live.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
I love. I like listening to music, but then there's just something about a live show. I just, you can feel everything. And,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different experience, and people that have never been to shows, like when people tell me, oh, I hardly ever go to shows, I'm just like, I don't understand how. Like at work, I'm like our resident concert goer. Like, I try to go to everything I can, and like Adam's the same way. I mean, he goes to shows. Me and him have been to the same show like multiple times. Mm-hmm. Like him and Janessa, just yeah, we've had some good times at shows.
Speaking of which, there's a couple shows this weekend.
Huh?
There's a couple shows this weekend.
Oh, cool. So. Well, there's always something going on and I've said it before and probably said it a bunch of times. For a town this size, there's a lot of stuff going on music-wise. So we're very fortunate. Yeah. Or are you talking about somewhere else?
No, here in town.
Here in town. Okay.
Yeah,
Washington?
Down at the Washington, and then down at the
Wake and Bake?
No.
Capitol.
Well, I'm sure they have some too. Auditorium.
Who's at the auditorium?
Hong Kong Sleepover, Stars in Toledo.
Oh.
1 or 2 other bands.
Cool. Oh yeah, and then when's that corn stalk or wood stalk in the cornfield again, or whatever they call that? Hayfest. What is that thing called?
Hollowfest.
Hollowfest.
That's towards the end of summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a little ways to go then. Needs a warm up.
Well, I think we've covered.
We've covered a lot of ground. Yeah.
Right. So I'll give the last couple. Anything you
Words of wisdom you'd like to impart to the world.
anything we may have forgot to cover, or anything like that. We'll let you have. Have anything you want to let the viewers know, or how to get a hold of you again, or.
And we could put that in the comments too,
Yeah,
so that
links to your music and
Yeah, for sure.
so.
Yeah, I just say, music's pretty much available anywhere. So Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, every
all the platforms.
all the platforms where everybody listens to music, it's pretty much there. And then we have videos up on YouTube as well, lyric videos and stuff. We're not the type that actually we have never met in person, so we can't really do a music video. But I like to try to do lyric videos because I like people to at least hear the message that I'm putting out.
Mm-hmm.
You never know, something you write might mean something to you and might mean something else to somebody. They may get something out of it that you didn't actually intend, but it works for them. So
That's the power of music.
Yeah, so I like to do lyric videos so people can see what I'm screaming about. 'Cause a lot of times they can't understand what I'm saying, which is fair. It's fair.
Yeah, I have an excuse. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yep. But yeah. So yeah, if you want to know what I'm saying, go to YouTube and find the lyric videos. They're out there.
Very cool. Well, it was good to have you on
Yeah, I
the
appreciate
King
you
Kong
having me.
Trail, and
Yeah.
thanks for being a trail walker with us.
Of course.
All right. Well, like I said, thank you very much. And that's going to do it for us on the King Kong Trail. And stay tuned for next week. Don't know who's coming in, but
Someone super awesome, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Travis,
Thank you.
thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.